Hello there! I'm here to talk to you about golden high flow acrylics. I bought a transparent set and I decided to test it for you and make a video, and I did a color my page challenge for it where you could vote on the colors I was going to use on my blog. The colors that you chose were dioxazine purple, phthalo green blue shade and phthalo blue green shade. But I ran into a problem, and not just one. This is only one example, the rest I tore up and threw away. But I am a warm color person, and the problem was that this is a really cool color combo, and I didn't like it. I didn't like anything that came out of it, and it made me feel like I had an artist block. Every time there was no inspiration, there was no love for the work, and well, I just didn't like it. So that's when I began to feel that I was keeping you waiting, and I didn't want to keep you waiting at all. And then I started to think about the challenge, and I realized that the idea was good, but the concept was off. Because in having this art challenge, the way I did, I made you wait quite a bit of time before I had new work to show and a new demo. So I was painting all these color wheels this week in an attempt to compose the most beautiful watercolor set. I have this empty box and I have a huge load of watercolors, and I wanted to make these color wheels to learn more about the pigments, how they work together, and why you should use one pigment and preferably not the other. And I was also learning about differences in brands and in all kinds of characteristics the paint had. But what it did to me is that I realized I really want to show you a lot about the paints that I have. So what I'm going to do from now on, I'm going to change it. I'm going to make it interactive in a different way, because that's why I did the poll. I wanted to make it interactive. I wanted you guys to have a say in it as well. You will still have a say in it, because what I would like you to do is to tell me the materials and the colors that you would like to see in action. So you can express your preferences to me here in the group, personal message, email, whatever you want. And I will try to keep that in mind when I do the challenges. What I will do is I will first film a demo. I will put it online when it's finished, so then you can do your own challenge in an art journal page, in a painting. And when I do have something to give away, I will be able to give it away immediately, instead of you having to wait all that time for a new demo and the giveaway. So, right, that's the way it's going to work from now on, and I think it's going to be better for everyone, for you and for me. Now, as to the high flow, I don't have much to show you, don't have a giveaway, but the next giveaway you will certainly next time there will certainly be a giveaway. I do want to share something about this paint with you though, because I did test a few things. This is the best, well, this is work in progress. I mean, this is not finished by far, and I'm not going to finish. I don't like it, or maybe I will finish, but not with these colors. I'll see what I'll do. But what I did is I wanted to show you a little bit about the paint. The paint is a lot different than I thought it would be. I already have the golden fluid acrylics, and I thought it was going to be way different, and because it says high flow, I expected it to be inky. I thought that this was Golden's answer to acrylic inks, especially because they're also suitable for airbrush. So I expected a really fluid, liquid kind of fluid. But it turns out to be quite a gel-like fluid that requires some diluting before it feels nice and fluid. Although, when you use it pure, undiluted, it looks pretty nice and intense as well. This is the brochure. But what I did, I made a very small color chart, because these colors are so close together and they're all in the same tone. You don't get much differentiation in it, so there's no big surprises. But what I do like you to see, and I'll just zoom in a little bit for you, is that it does have sort of a watercolor-like feel to it in the end result. not in working with it. In working with it, I feel it behaves different. I tend to say I don't like it, but maybe that's a conclusion that I draw too soon because I didn't finish one painting with this paint yet. So I can't really say that I like it or not. One thing there is a very contradicting thing I like about this paint. That is the cap. It's a cap that you have to turn to open, and you have to turn it back shut. The huge advantage is that you can just drip drops of this paint into a palette to mix, which is wonderful. I'll just show you the colors in a minute. But then you have to just close it back down by turning it this way. And what what happened to me quite a few times is that quite a bit of paint that was here in the nozzle just squirted out or just dripped out right alongside the bottle, and I hated that. So when you do buy these, then when they're still open, just tap it onto the table a few times. Oh look, there is a little bubble of air coming out before you close it, so then you will minimize the paint that comes out at the top. I was worried it would stick shut, but it doesn't, so that works really well. I want to say something about the end result. When you dilute this paint with water, you can water it down pretty well. Then it looks a lot like watercolor, and what you see happening here is that I first wet a little square patch with one color, diluted very much, and then I just dabbed a little bit of paint in the corners to see how the flow was. And that works really well even when you don't dilute it. If you make sure you have a wet space on the paper, then you dab your brush on the paper, the paint will flow. And I have to say that when you work with it when you dilute it, it remains matte. So this has a matte finish, but then again, it's pretty light in color. If you want more intensity, then this is the big difference between watercolor and this paint, and the way that you work with it. It's very, very different. There are a few differences. I'll show you in a minute. These are the colors. I made this color chart with this set of 10. It contained Hansa Yellow Medium, Naphthol Red Light, Quinacridone Red, Dioxazine Purple, Phthalo Blue Green Shade, Phthalo Green Blue Shade, Transparent Yellow Iron Oxide, Transparent Red Iron Oxide, Transparent Brown Iron Oxide, and Shading Gray. I made a little mistake, so I flipped them around, which is okay as long as you flip it around in the test as well. What I also wrote down here is the pigment numbers, and that is something that I started doing after I noticed how big the differences between the pigments actually are. So when mixing, you do get a good idea of how the pigments mix together. Well, about the mixability of this paint, it's simply fantastic. It's lovely. As you can see, there is a great many colors, and as you can see, overall, it is there are beautiful in this set. There is beautiful balance between warm and cooler colors. Although I would almost say this is slightly warmer than it is cool, and I like it. It's very intense, but this was applied almost pure. Only in some regions I added a little bit of water, and that was just because my drop of paint had run out. But I want to show you side by side to another color chart and I'm taking the Magello Mission Gold for these, which is kind of ironic because these paints don't flow as well as the other European and American watercolor paint brands does. But this is watercolor, this is the high flow acrylics, and as you can see in intensity, it's pretty good. However, I do feel that, and I don't know if I can show that to you guys, but I'm going to start moving the sheets around a little bit, and I don't know if you can see it, but when it dries up it remains, it's a bit shiny. there is a reflection on the work when you don't dilute it. And that might be something you don't like. Also, when you look at this, you can see sort of flowering going on. There is also granulation. So watercolor paint has got more structure. So, and texture. So if you want to get results like these, then keep in mind that this seems to behave a little bit more like ink. That said, the colors that I have, I wouldn't know what, for example, ultramarine would do. I think they will also have that, and whether that is granulating or not at all. In this, maybe it's not granulating at all. I would be interested to try the opaque set, because there is also an opaque set. When I first tried out these 3 colors, I thought, I'm not going to work with this because I don't want to, it didn't feel good. But now that I have this color chart, I feel that the colors are really beautiful and versatile. And when working in techniques like this, you can layer without any restraint, because you can layer on forever. You won't pick up the previous layer. So that is the huge advantage of using a high flow product, or even an acrylic ink that you dilute with water. But this does not behave like acrylic ink. I think what it feels like most is when you water down your acrylic paint too much. But then you can tell that there is more medium in this. There is a fluid medium in this, and you can tell that it's a bit gel-like almost. Even when you dilute it with water, it never becomes really water. It's always slightly syrupy, and when you dilute it to water, it's too thin, and then the colors are really way too light. Okay, so I will be doing a painting with this. When, I don't know. I'm going to focus. I'm working on my next art course, my online art course, Mirror Mirror, which is going to launch 1st of May, and very soon people can sign up. It's going to be an illustrative course in portrait drawing, in self-portraits, and it's going to be about storytelling combined with a technique of watercolor, gouache, and mixed media. So I hope that, even though I don't have a finished product for you to show and a demo, I hope that this little video is giving you some information anyway. I hope you enjoyed it. Please join my Color My Page challenge, because the next round is going to be more exciting and much more quick. And well, if you like my video, you can also subscribe to my challenge. So thank you very much for watching, and see you next time. Bye!